AI in the Simulation, Part 2. These people are not real. First, a friendly warning: I always aim to make fun, thought-provoking, educational episodes on simulation theory, but sometimes my ideas can cause an existential crisis, so please remain calm. This is all just theory. Imagine a website that can create a new fake person's face every 2 seconds. Or an artificial intelligence model so powerful that it's already been banned from the public. Or how about a trustworthy female news anchor completely powered by AI? Welcome to another month of artificial intelligence in 2019. Episode 11 of AWLIAS: Are We Living in a Simulation? In a previous episode, we explored just how far artificial intelligence in video games has come over the last 30 years. In this episode, we will now focus on more recent mind-boggling developments in AI. First up, a website that can create a completely new person's face every 2 seconds. These faces are not typical CG-style photos, but lifelike photos that you or I could easily post on social media. The website, thispersondoesnotexist.com, was created by Uber's Philip Wang as a demonstration to just how powerful artificial intelligence has already become. Wang uses a clever machine learning method that basically pitches two AI systems against each other. This process is known as Generative Adversarial Network, or GAN for short. You all know I love my abbreviations. Okay, so before we get more technical, let me just say that the most impressively freaky aspect to this website is not the fact that machine learning can create a whole new face in just a few seconds. Nope, the most fascinating thing here is that the images feel familiarly real. The faces here all tell their own stories. Their incredibly lifelike eyes betray our brains by peering back at us and showing us a history that doesn't exist. All without saying a word. Even when we look at these faces, knowing they aren't real, there is still a doubt. A familiarity that is highly confusing for us to process. It would seem that we are now hitting a point in technology where our animal-like brains are having trouble catching up. It's this aspect of artificial intelligence that is perhaps now fringing on a possible upcoming crisis, at least if unchecked. But if our primal brains are already struggling to separate AI from human efforts at these still early days, then where exactly do we go from here? It may help first if we can see how these artificial faces are created. Let's quickly break down this computer witchcraft and wizardry by starting with GAN, Generative Adversarial Network. GAN is basically a machine learning system in which two neural networks compete against each other in a zero-sum endgame. This super popular machine learning method can generate images that look very realistic to humans, having many authentic characteristics. But don't be confused, GAN is not two networks each trying to create the best looking photo. Instead, GAN uses two components: a generator and a discriminator. The job of the generator is to create the images, the fraud, if you will. While the job of the discriminator is to determine if the image provided is real or fake. Both continue to get better and better at beating the other. So at first, the generator may create images that look unreal, or it gets confused perhaps, when marking certain facial features, and where they should be. Making it easy for the discriminator. But then, just like all good machine learning systems, it immediately improves on its results. Learning instantly from failures being fed back into the loop. Soon, the images have become so real that some of the fake images are eventually accepted by the discriminator. However, remember too, that the discriminator is also getting better by learning of its own mistakes too, improving along the way. Soon, the generator's fake images can no longer get past the discriminator, so it must improve further. This cat and mouse game continues to evolve, but due to the speed in which machine learning can move at, and with such huge data sets, that things become very real, very fast. Unlike a human eye, which could take years of training to be able to tell fake photos from real ones, with machine learning, years, or even the equivalent of a century of learning, can instead be reduced to a fraction of time. This is what causes concern for people like Elon Musk. The speed and power of which AI can move at. So these realistic-looking photos that we see from this website are simply the results of an AI war, or battle if you like. And while the battle is still taking place, the GAN methods still being improved on, already the results look eerily real. But let's not panic just yet. These images don't have a story to tell, right? Well, about that, let me quickly read you something. The following text was not written by a human. It is a fake quote, written entirely by a new AI model. Open quote. Recycling is not good for the world. It is bad for the environment. It is bad for our health, and it is bad for our economy. I'm not kidding. Recycling is not good for the environment. It is destructive to the earth, and it is a major contributor to global warming. Recycling is not good for our health. It contributes to obesity and diseases. Recycling is bad for our economy. It increases the cost of a product, and in turn, the price of everything that is made with that product. Recycling is not good for our nation. We pay a tremendous price for the privilege of having the world's most advanced and efficient recycling system. Recycling is a huge, colossal waste of time, energy, money, and resources. End quote. Wow. Can you believe that quote wasn't just written by an angry human? Once again, the interesting thing here is not so much that a machine can string some words together, but that the phrases feel like they have personality, or maybe a history to them. As we read those words, we can perhaps imagine who that type of person is, or what that person may look like. Why they may be saying these things. Why some may listen to their opinion. Yet this person is no person at all. There is no personality. It's simply AI, a machine learning system. And this is why this new system, called GPT-2, has already been banned from public release, at least for now. OpenAI, the organization behind this latest model, said wisely that they don't want to risk enabling malicious or abusive use of the technology, adding that it was a very tough balancing act. GPT-2 only needs a few words of input text to begin, and then from this, can identify the subject matter before creating its own sentences of uniquely written content, all based on its own predictions, from just this initial basic input by the user. And its scope is already vast. GPT-2 has already been trained on a dataset of around 10 million articles. Meaning the AI's topic knowledge and intelligence is already massive. 15 times bigger than previous models. For those familiar with the 1980s short circuit movies, you may recall a popular robot in those films called Johnny 5. This robot can read a whole book in just 2 seconds. He calls this fast reading process his input, and 5 is thirsty to read and learn as many subjects as possible and as quickly as possible. In those films, he physically has to quickly scan through page after page of each book, just like a human being would. However, our modern-day AI has no such problem by accessing tens of gigabytes of data and trained on a data set of millions of web pages. But, just like Johnny 5, while the machine could be used for good, it could also be used for bad. Imagine using a system like this to perhaps create 10,000 fake reviews of a product, or maybe a new movie. A company, or the public could believe that there is a genuine issue. This new AI model can write new content faster than any human ever possibly could. But what if a troll was to go one step further? Rather than simple bad reviews, what if they were to spread false news stories? But that would be impossible. The public only trust human news reporters, right? A few weeks ago, China welcomed on screen their first ever female AI news anchor. Developed in partnership between the new China news agency and Sogu, a popular Chinese search engine company, this new AI-powered news anchor is realistically modeled after Wu Meng, a real news reporter at the agency. So perhaps in the future, if Meng feels like a day off, the network can maybe now simply ask the AI version of herself to fill in. But what if the AI version of Meng is better than the human version? AI Meng won't get sick, or need a vacation, and can even work 24 hours, without needing a nap. She also doesn't need a salary. Or more interestingly, consider what could happen if one day the AI Meng was hacked. What if the artificial intelligence version of Meng perhaps went rogue, reporting false stories to millions watching at home? Imagine the horror and confusion. Don't expect AI reporters to be solely on Asian TV either. With more and more media groups cutting staff numbers, the person reading your local news could soon be a machine too. Now, if we consider these three recent developments, the fake faces that our eyes believe are real, the fake words and sentences that appear to be human written and authentic, and the female news reporter, the face that millions of people often trust for their news, now powered by AI. If we take all three of these recent developments and consider what would happen if someone was to combine them all and use them for malice. Consider an AI-powered news reporter reading words typed by an AI system that is simply generating them on the fly, making stories up as she goes along, as it were. Now, one can see how dangerous this could be to society. This could be fake news 2.0. And if we then consider the future, perhaps 5 to 10 years from now, imagine real-time interviews with fake people saying fake words to back up a major fake story, backed by fake witness statements. Global crisis could in theory be created out of nothing but a skilled troll using machine learning for bad and not for good. That is why a huge part of working with artificial intelligence methods going forward has to be moderation and, to an extent, control. But how do these recent developments play into an episode of Are We Living in a Simulation? Please remember, my channel and website is not a conspiracy theory community. I am in no way claiming that AI is being used right now to trick us. But if we consider that our brains are already being confused by machine learning, if we know photos of our faces can be easily created by a machine, well-written stories made up entirely by basic machine learning, and artificial news reporters that are so realistic that they can possibly replace human versions, then this does indeed leave us with many deeper questions. Could our ancestors have already been here before? Is this a simulation of a simulation, with the simulation advancing with its very own machine learning creations? Or are we on the verge of a second simulated singularity event? But anyway, that's enough existential crisis for this episode. What are your thoughts on the advancement of artificial intelligence? Do let our little community know. Finally, some good news. I'm delighted to announce Orleans.com 2.0. Our little website on simulation theory has had a facelift, and is now powered by WordPress, a popular open source content management system. You can check it out on awlias.com. One of the advantages of this big update is I will be able to create more written content, including text versions of each episode. So from now on, you can read the text, listen to the podcast, or watch the episode on YouTube. As always, awlias.com does not and will not ever use any external tracking cookies or adverts, so you're free to enjoy my website stress-free, with your privacy intact. For those that would like to support the community, please consider making a Patreon donation from just $5. Our little online community forum is called The Alliance, and all patrons get full right access to post their very own simulation theories and hypotheses. I hope one day to be able to run this simulation theory channel and community full-time, but currently the website, YouTube and podcast are not monetized, with 0 revenue streams, and so I would really appreciate your kind support. The next episode will be episode 12, and should be out later this month, so please subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time, friends, on awlias.com. Are we living in a simulation?